Hello. Hello again. So today is the 30th day of March. I will soon be finished saying March for this year, like I'm finished saying February, except for now. I mean, I've said it now. But it's Monday, the 30th of March, and it's 2:30. And I feel like I've got muck or cement in my stomach. What the hell? I didn't feel too well this morning. Well, not this morning, actually. Midday when I woke up. It's that kind of really stuffed, constipated feeling. I don't know whether it was the nuts I ate around 3 o'clock in the morning, or if I ate something that didn't really agree with me. Maybe the pasta. I hate that heavy feeling. I really like to feel light. I like to feel light and hungry. That's kind of the best way to be. So I should really leave my system and just maybe a little bit of light comfort food today. Nothing heavy. So yeah, we're into the... We've done 2 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks next Saturday. Moving into April. Wednesday. April already. When I think of the speed of the passing of time, like thinking about 2020 for a long time, and then it arrives and we're already kind of getting into the 4th month. And so, a little bit more time, we'll be halfway through already. And I think then, I'm going to be hitting 55. And sometimes, I guess, like a lot of people, there's a moment of high anxiety when you contemplate how quick time is going and how my 50s are going to quickly become the 60s, providing I'm lucky enough to live that long. But it's serious. It's serious stuff. And it really is going to take some kind of big spiritual work to make myself accept, in a sense, that it's kind of okay to be in my 50s. I imagine a lot of people in their 50s, it's fine, it's not, doesn't seem that old, but getting into the 60s and stuff, I have to say that's at the moment that scares me. Maybe when I was in my late 30s, being 50 scared me, I don't know. Maybe when the time comes, you just find ways to deal with it. What can you do? But it's a knowingness about the span of a life, and there's no way of explaining that, because it just sounds like I'm stating the obvious when you kind of put it into words. Maybe there's a phrase for that. I think there's a phrase when someone is just... But there's a difference between saying something and feeling it. There's a difference between theoretically knowing something and really knowing something, really feeling it. I don't know, I can't find the word. I'll let you go. Good boy. are you doing? What are you doing? Allez. Run on ahead, Tuco. Stop biting my ankle. I don't know why he does that to us. Allez. Où est le lapin? Can we go over there? Is it mucky? Maybe that's what he was trying to tell me. He wants to go this way. There's a kind of irony about getting old in the right ways, that you start to really appreciate things as you get older. And I mean, in what the Burt Lancaster phrase of the simple things. So getting up and going for a walk, you appreciate, and I feel I'm gonna appreciate more and more. And you would be forgiven for saying to yourself, I wish I appreciated these simple things when I was a lot younger. Because when I was a lot younger, yeah, a walk was maybe I did appreciate. I mean, I always remember appreciating Walpole Park and stuff. But I mean, you appreciate just the existence itself without anything else. You just appreciate being alive. You appreciate breathing in the air, being able to take a deep breath. You appreciate I hope that's not a shortness of breath I'm developing. You appreciate the essentials, you know, existence. Looking forward to eating something. I mean, and when you're younger, when you're a teenager, you tend to be more looking for something else to give yourself that sense of appreciation. You got bigger projects. Your mind is kind of running around with something else, different thoughts. I think when I was young, there was always a lot of energy placed on what I wanted to be, kind of what career or something I wanted to have, and far less time spent on enjoying the moment. Although, to be honest to myself, to be fair to myself, I think I've always had a pretty good appreciation for the day. This way, Tuco. I don't want to go that way, it's too mucky. But still, in saying that, as you get older, that appreciation just grows. There's a kind of a growing intensity about just enjoying life. And like I keep going on about, the faculty inside seems to develop. So someone like me can gain such an amount of pleasure from playing, like the game I'm playing at the moment, Transport Fever. That's kind of a good example. If you think of the younger guys playing it, and they're zoomed up in the sky all the time, and they're so busy trying to make money, and they're furiously going through the game like lightning, you know. And everything is trying to get everything. It's almost like everyone's kind of trying to do it fast without too much thinking. No, that's not really right. They are thinking, but their objective is just to increase the money and do the next thing and do the next thing. And you see so many of these guys, they never zoom in. Whereas I will kind of stop adding production lines, or I will stop changing old vehicles, and I may spend 20 minutes just kind of looking at the street or at the traffic or at some of the buildings, or I may connect to the view from the front of the train and just take a whole trip on the train. Or like yesterday, I found myself going to think it was an oil refinery, and I mean, absolutely nothing there, and I just was listening to the sound effects. Allez, Tuco. Allez. Sometimes he stops. I don't know why. Listening to the sound effects and really appreciating the details in the game. And I think that can be kind of like an analogy for life itself. When you're younger people, they're far too busy doing things to actually see anything. You know? The tragic part of it is, though, that if I keep appreciating life with the passing of time, then the older I get, the more connected I'm going to get, the tougher it's going to be to leave, the sadder I'm going to be. But I guess that's not too bad to hope that as you get older you appreciate the simpler and simpler things more and more. Yeah. Where's the water, Tuco? I can hear it. I played that game till about 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just amazing. I managed to make 100 million. Which is so cool, because at the beginning I was wondering if I was ever going to make anything. Allez! Let's find you some water to have a drink out of, Tuco. Not there, because it's too mucky. I mean, it's too deep. Up here, Tuco. We're going to find you a place. The 30th of March. We're into summertime as well now. So longer evenings. Will be beginning. And I just thought, looking at some of these stones here, that they change in the water. As the water runs into the stone, it kind of takes all the edges off it, and it does that over thousands and thousands of years. So I thought that I'm looking at the same stones that were here. Maybe they were all a bit bigger, I don't know how that works, but they're the same stones that would have been here during, let's say, when Napoleon was walking around. I'm standing on the same stones. Good boy, Tuco. I'm standing on the same stones. That's an interesting thought, because I guess these stones would have been here since the very beginning, no? And the only thing is that the little ones I'm looking at were at one point like the big ones that I got washed and washed and washed in the water. Does that mean that the big stones I'm walking on right now, the ones I'm looking at, these big heavy stones, does that mean that in 1,000 years maybe some guy's going to walk along here, he's going to pick up that same stone that I just picked up, but it's going to be that size, much smaller, but we're both going to handle the same thing. It's the kind of question a child would ask. And an adult couldn't really answer. How old is the rock and the stones? Because they're never... That's got my mind going now. They were never formed, those stones, were they? They've always been here. Stones are not born by some stone thing. And stones are not produced by a tree or a plant, obviously, or anything like that. Stones are just there. Does that mean that every stone I touch and every stone I walk on was here millions and millions of years ago in some form or another? Bigger, maybe? Because stones are not produced by anything unless it's like a volcano or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's a completely different field. But it's just interesting to think that the stones I'm walking on are the same stones that perhaps somebody 100,000 years walked on. Or in 100,000 years would they have just completely changed? I mean, there's lots of stones where I'm walking now, but I guess depending on the land and everything, they would have been maybe buried under the ground, I don't know. I mean, I watched some videos on Transport Theatre this afternoon. It's really great to get into a game that so far I feel, it might change, who knows, but I think it's got the potential to be something I could be playing for years, because you've got the game and then you've got to bring your own imagination to that game and what you want to do with it. And I could see myself just working slowly at a small piece of it, for instance, small piece of the map. Just working on one town, let's say, let's say 2 towns maybe, or 1 town. To go. And going from there, there's just different ways to approach it. Like SimCity, you know, there's different things you can do, and each SimCity game is different, and I have a feeling, I hope that this is going to be the same. And the scope of it is huge. The map, even the small map, is just... I mean, I keep losing my place on the map. And then I have to find... there's ways of finding an easier way how to get to places. I'm really excited by that game. I've been waiting so many years for something to take over from that SimCity obsession, which I had and still have sometimes. There's also the thing where it is a simulation, and it's a much bigger one than SimCity. It's one you can leave running and running, and I mean, it would be interesting to leave just one line running of trains when you're making some money and not do anything else and just see the years go by. You could really leave this game ticking over for the whole day in the corner of your computer somewhere to test out things. You know, what happens if I don't do very much of anything, if I just leave a train going from one side to the other? And add some, let's say, food to a town, let's say. I don't know. Alright, you go. A lovely day with a bit of everything in it. Some clouds, some sun, and maybe some rain even. This 30th of June. Yesterday was very wet and rainy and dark, so I didn't get a chance to experience the stretch in the evening. I might be able to do that today. Is that right, Tuco? I bring you out for a walk at 7 o'clock and it'll still be bright. I really don't see what he's barking at. He's running ahead barking and I can't see anything. What the hell are you barking at, Tuco? Seriously, Tuco, what are you barking at? Could be like a bird in the middle of the field. I think with something like this, me and Flo are very lucky, not just, I guess, in terms of the finance, or the fact that we've got a very small kind of micro business, and it's very easy to put it on hold. It's just the two of us. I've managed to fit nearly everything in the freezer. The flour and stuff, I don't know, that might be a problem, but I think it may last for a year, the flour. So we're lucky in that respect, but maybe even more so as the psychological advancements we've made in our relationship. We've kind of been through a lot of stuff earlier that people are going through now. We've had so much practice on being together through thick and thin, and actually the real areas of conflict for us over the years have always been mainly in the Connemara. It's been Flo gets stressed because of her Achilles heel stuff, and then sometimes I get annoyed by that. Or if we're under pressure, we're busy, then we both get kind of stressed and we both... What's wrong, Tuco? And we can both kind of argue with each other. But because it's the Connemara and it's stressful, we've both learned to disassociate that kind of stuff from real life in a way. So we've often had arguments in the Connemara and we're shouting at not shouting at each other, but we're both angry at each other. But as soon as the day is finished and I cash up, it's like, well, that was that. It's nothing to do with real life. Nothing to do with us. It's just because we're under pressure in the Connemara, we've been able to disassociate it. And we both realised that when we're on holidays together, with the added exception of putting a fucking tent up, besides that, when we're on holidays together, nearly all of it, we're pretty much in good form together and can distinguish the bad form as being our own and not caused by the other person most of the time. And when we're at home, we seem to get along quite well together. We seem to be able to understand and accept the other person's way of living. The only thing that can cause a bit of trouble is if we, and that's something I need to work on, we get in a discussion about the other person's beliefs, or more to the point, I start criticising some of the stuff Flo is listening to. But once, besides that, we're pretty good. I've been watching on some of the social medias the difficulties with people living together now, and I can really understand how difficult it would be. You may be a young couple that have been married for two or 3 years, and the husband's off every day working. Maybe the wife works as well, a modern couple. and they've got this great relationship because they see each other in the morning and at night, and they're still able to kind of project the perfect partner onto each other, because to be honest they don't really know each other. But now they're stuck together 24 hours a day, and all of a sudden the husband's just not able to hide all the bad things. He's not able to keep in check that irritability or frustration with something the wife has said or done, or not because of her, maybe himself. And so for the first time in their 3-year marriage, he shows a side of himself she hasn't seen before, the angry side, and maybe says some things that he doesn't really mean, but they just come out because he has to kind of get his own back on what the wife's saying about him. And with the young couple, when something like that happens, instead of like the older couple like me and Flo, and you just think, well, you know, you got to give the other person some slack. And also you realize, well, people say all kinds of things when they're possessed by the anger. They're possessed by the anger. And they may mean it in some way, but most of the time they don't really mean it. If it's like if one person says to the other, you're completely useless, nobody really means you're completely useless. It's just something you say at the moment. But the difference with the young, impressionable women of today is that just one incident like that may cause the woman to be thinking, oh my God, I made a dreadful mistake because my husband has some kind of passion and he's shouted at me and called me a bitch, and I never expected anyone to ever call me a bitch, and I thought our marriage would go forever where we could completely bury all those frustrations and irritations and anxieties and stresses. We could both bury them from each other forever. I would imagine there's a lot of relationships are seeing different sides of each other, possibly for the first time in a lot of cases. It's like when you go to the toilet and Tuco, allez, let's go to the field. Yay! I bet that sounds wonderful on this. Yay! It's like a goddamn retard. Yeah. It takes a certain amount of awareness or experience to kind of understand that people have just got to vent sometimes, and you shouldn't take everything too personal. Heading home now. I brought my camera and I didn't use it. Never mind. My 360-degree camera, I don't want to use it here because it seems to be that just about everything I have in my library on the app is either from the Connemara or this field. I haven't done anything anywhere else. I'd love to go and have a coffee somewhere. What a stupid thing that is to... Just for a second I thought, maybe today I could go and have a coffee somewhere and put the camera on the table and film all the people. To quickly pull myself back to reality. There is no coffee anymore. There is no coffee shops. There is no going out. Except to here. So I may watch some videos for a bit. And then this evening, I believe I'm going to go back and carry on playing that game. I may just let the simulation run actually this afternoon. I've got as far as 65. And it's one of those things change just by allowing it to run. But because of the nature of it, it'll say something like your trucks are in a bad state. Your trains are in a bad state, especially one train because it's 35 years old. And you should change it. The only thing I found about that is if a train is making money and you don't change it, I'm not sure anything happens. I was kind of wondering if you just keep letting this happen, does the train stop at some point? Do you get a message saying your train is just it's so old that it's broken down and you need to replace it? But I'm not sure that's going to happen, so I think you can probably ignore some of these things. Maybe the money they earn diminishes or the speed diminishes. But these are all the interesting questions, because these are things you can find out from running various simulations. Yeah. God, I love these yellow dandelions. God, I don't know what they're called. You know what I have to do is take a picture of them with my phone, and then you can actually scan stuff now and it'll bring up probably an explanation of what it is. It's the kind of technology we have now. We've actually moved way ahead of, well, in some ways, ahead of the equipment they had on Star Trek. And Spock could do an analysis of stuff with his tricorder reading. I can do the same thing now. Anyway, heading back to the gate, so I'm going to have to end this broadcast, which has been 32 minutes. 32 minutes, okay, over and out for now.